If you're weary with smallness and you're tired all the time and you can't focus, what are you going to do with greatness? You're asking for more and you haven't mastered less.
What you do while you are in this world will determine forever where you spend forever.
Everything you ever thought you would not make it through, you got past it. Now, if you're currently going through something right now, guess what? You're going to get past that too. It always works that way. You always do.
Everything that happens to you in your life, whether it's a trauma, whether it's a disease, whether it's somebody treating you in a certain way, there's a lesson in all of it. No limit people understand the lesson in life, and therefore celebrate the lessons.
See, a lot of times we allow ourselves to be fed and to be programmed and to being afraid. I mean, you watch the news and read the newspaper, you'll be scared to come out the house. So what kinds of things, what kinds of thoughts are you feeding your consciousness? What kind of things are you putting in your mind that will enable you to either move forward or to justify why you're staying where you are?
We have many areas to improve on. In every area we need to learn. We are not the greatest. We need to grow. We need to expand. And I'm not talking about numbers. I want to make sure we're really clear about that. I'm not talking about numbers at all. I'm talking about within. Some of you, you need to grow from within. Growing is not the mission. Growing is not the goal. Us being healthy, that's the goal. And it just turns out that healthy things grow.
And my point to you is, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have something that keeps you sharp and focused, if you don't have challenges, you won't stay alive. You could drop into a pile of dust pretty quick if you don't have any. I don't care how old you are. I don't care who you are. You need a dream.
And when you get to that point in your life where you're not cursing the things that come your way and blaming the things that come your way, and particularly blaming it on somebody else. And you hear it all the time. She hurt my feelings. How's that possible? How can anybody hurt your feelings? Your feelings come from your thoughts. No one can hurt your feelings without your consent. No one can embarrass you without your consent. These are choices that you have that come from the way that you think.
Tonight, I don't know where you're at on this journey. And I don't know what life looks like for you right now. But I know this: if you're ever gonna be who God's called you to be, it's gonna require confidence. And if you've lost it, you gotta find it. And if you've misplaced it, you gotta get it back.
You're not the nut you used to be, but you're not the tree you're gonna be. But until you learn how to appreciate where you are in the process, you won't get the power to evolve to your ultimate destiny.
When you do discover a cause worth dying for, and you do realize it's worth living for, how many know it's worth giving for, it's worth working for, it's worth sacrificing for? But what I've learned is that if you don't have confidence, you'll never walk out your cause.
You're so busy starving the sapling trying to get to the tree that you cancel out the potential of being a tree because you don't feed where you are. You're in love with tomorrow, but you're neglecting today. Until you are faithful over the few, you cannot be ruler over the many. So you need to take your eye off of the tree and water what you got now.
You're gonna get what you focus on. What you focus on gets larger and larger in your life. It grows. It's like if you look at what's wrong with your life, you can actually get to the point where you just hate your life.
There's a lot of destruction going on in the world right now. There's a lot of loss happening in the world right now. And I've actually been through a lot of chaos, and I've been through a lot of destruction. And one thing that I've learned is I learned that I had to keep my emotions in check. And that's the same thing I tell other people when they're going through trying times. And that does not mean that you're not going to have emotions. But by keeping your emotions in check, I mean don't make decisions based on your emotions. They're going to lead to a bad place. Don't let that happen. Instead, if you feel yourself getting emotional, take a step back. Detach. Look around. Think about the long-term implications of the decisions that you're making, and make your decisions based on logic and based on reason and based on long-term outcomes.
Go ahead and work on your level. Go ahead and master where you are. And after a while, without you even trying to do it, where you started will turn into where you're going. That's what destiny is pulling you into. From the rehearsal to the recital, once you have mastered it, whether the recital is business, marriage, accounting firms, real estate development, family, whatever your recital is, once you have maximized it, you get to sit with the masters.
So the key to your life is finding a vision that imposes discipline on you. In essence, vision is the source of discipline. Discipline is the root of leadership. It actually is the very nature that attracts people to you. A disciplined person naturally begins to attract people because people admire discipline in other people. That's why we go to see athletes perform. We really admire their discipline that they put themselves through. If you do the same thing as a person, people will then begin to believe what you say. Your very life of discipline creates trust. People trust a person who they perceive to be disciplined.
That if you want it, you got to go get it. Some of y'all got this concept of what you want. You know, some of y'all are motivated by broke, just wanting to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Other folks are motivated by materialistic things. It's a very simple concept. If you want it, you gotta go get it.
You've got creativeness in you. If you decide to take the initiative to change the current quality of your life, I say to you that you will find that the universe is on your side. Now, will it be turbulent? Yes. Will it be easy? No, no. Will I make a lot of mistakes? Yes. See, a lot of people won't try anything different in life because they don't want to get hurt.
I am going to be curious about myself. I am going to make it my mission every day to wake up and discover a new version of me. I'm going to make it my mission to explore the corners, the far corners of myself, just to see what's there, because I want to know what else is in me. You know, you've got to be curious about yourself. And that's the attitude to have if you want to get more out of this life.
I used to try to change everything. You can hang apples on a pear tree. I'm telling you, it won't help. You can put up a sign, this is an apple tree. Sure enough, come the season, pears. Here's what I learned. You cannot change people, but they can change themselves. It's your skills that buy you a future. Money and no skills, and I'm telling you, you're still poor. Money and no courage, you're broke.
You know your strengths. You know your dreams. You know your heart. So why don't you sit down and reflect for a moment and ask yourself, what do I really want to accomplish that I haven't accomplished yet? Get in your area, in your space, and say, I need to challenge me, because here's what I feel and here's what I believe. When you challenge yourself, you're challenging yourself in an area that is close to your heart, and it's who you are.
Accept the challenge, because you can't grow without a challenge. You can't get rich without a challenge. You have to understand the challenge. But that's the key, is to now develop wisdom to overcome the challenge. Don't wish for less challenge, but more wisdom. You can do the most remarkable things no matter what happens. Humans can do the most remarkable things no matter what happens.
Just being aware of the concept will put you light years ahead of 99.9% of the people. Just awareness of the power of identity. Just now you knowing about the thermostat puts you in the 0.1% of all the people on the spinning earth right now.
There are three kinds of people. There are people who make things happen, people that watch things happen, and people that don't know what happened. That's the majority. Hoping that somebody with mercy and pity will look in their direction. No! Hey, listen here. You've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. Listen to me. Be willing to learn something. Keep moving in the direction of where you want to go. Continue to fall forward.
One of the things I'm suggesting you look at, what is it that you need to be in the process of doing more of or less of? Like being more direct, saying no without feeling guilty, more focused. 1 year I decided to do one thing well. I looked at all of my talents and I decided the strongest one, my ability as a speaker, that's the one I'm going to focus on. But only when I decided to focus did I begin to reap the rewards of my talent.
As we get older, as persons and as businesses, we have a tendency to want to cling to the old, to be suspicious of anything new and exciting. This is a successful way of doing things. Let's stay with it. Let's hang on to what we've got and ride out a future we can't be sure of. But this attitude, in many ways, can only lead to decline and eventual failure. This is a turning of the back to life, and it's something life won't stand for. To grow, we must let go.
See, when you get to a certain place, when you're willing to risk, you're not willing to risk, you can't grow. And if you can't grow, you can't become your best. And if you can't become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, what else is there? Yet many of you have been working on jobs. That is not you. Why do you do it? Oh, to pay the bills. But you've gotten to a point where that's not enough.
People telling you, hey, you can't do this, that doesn't matter. You have no idea what's possible for you, and because you don't even know what's possible for you, they have no clue what's possible for you. So you've got to keep going and keep pushing. There's some pain involved, but you got to go past the pain, and I'm telling you what's on the other end is more rewarding than anything you can think about right now. All right? So you got to go in there, take that attitude with you. This might be the day. This might be the day.
You got to get focused, man. You got to understand that this hard time that you're going through is preparing you for what you ask God for. Every trial and tribulation you go through prepares you for the life God has for you.
What do you think about? What is your dream? You want a larger life, and that you're going to get a breakthrough, that things are going to be better for you, that you're willing to work on you. You're learning how to live life now.
It was my philosophy that changed. The set of the sail of better thinking, correcting the errors of the past and picking up new disciplines for the future. That's all I had to do at the end of the first 6. And my total life changed. The second 6 years was totally different than the first 6 of my working life.
If you're stuck in a story. There's a story you're telling yourself that doesn't serve you anymore. And you have to evaluate what that story is. But what you need to do is you need to alter your associations. You need to do something in a short window of time, no question about it. You definitely need to evaluate what is no longer needed and evaluate the story you're telling yourself.
What's your philosophy of life? What are your beliefs, things that you feel very strongly about? What are some of the things that you have picked up along the way that you've been doing them for so long you think that they're you, that you need to begin to re-examine them and perhaps get them out of your life? See, a lot of things we're doing, we do unconsciously because we picked it up somewhere in life.
Of all the stuff I've gone through in my life, eating out of trash cans, sleeping in abandoned buildings. The worst thing that ever happened is when I went to the hospital and they told me my wife had a chronic illness and she might not be able to walk one day. People say, E.T., ask CJ, it never broke me. Why? Because I've been broken so much. I've been defeated so much. I've been disappointed so much in my life that I know what it feels like and I can handle it.
And I'll tell you another thing. It's not even from the military. Like, the military requires discipline, obviously. But there's plenty of people in the military that don't have it, right? And many people lose their discipline when they leave the military because it's not being imposed on them anymore. So, I mean, just go look around. I mean, being in the military does not make you a disciplined person. Being from a disciplined family does not make you a disciplined person. Being in a disciplined group does not make you a disciplined person. What makes you a disciplined person is choosing to be disciplined. So, yeah, and also as far as telling people to man up, which, you know, when someone says, how do I get up early every day? I say, get up early every day. How do I stop eating sugar? Stop eating sugar. If that's the definition of man up, but obviously it's not just men that need discipline in their life. I don't think I use that term, but what I do tell people is to get after it. That's what I tell people, to get after it. I tell people to do the things that they know they're supposed to do.
He said, son, you have busted up subclavian artery in your chest. You're bleeding internally. We have to rush you back. Take the main vein out of your left leg, plug it into your chest in order to save your life. When I opened my eyes from recovery, the same doctor was over me. He said, son, has some good news and some bad news for you. I said, you got some bad news for me? I have to tell him I was about to die. I'm still alive. How bad can it get? I'm still here. He said, the good news is we saved your life. I said, thank you, sir. He said, the bad news is, Ink, you have nerve damage in your right shoulder. I said, okay, cool. He said, but son, it's a strong possibility that you probably can never play the game of football again in your life. I said, no way. I said, no disrespect to you, Doc, but I've been working for this ever since I was 7 years old. He said, no disrespect to you, Doc, but you wasn't in the park with me and my mother. And I was 7 years old and she was sitting in that Buick she got done working at Wendy's. No disrespect to you, Doc, but you didn't come up in that 2-bedroom home, 14 people sleeping on the floor. No disrespect to you, Doc, but you didn't miss those meals and stay focused and never made an excuse. I never cheated.
I refuse to lose. I refuse to give up. Some people like to give up on a lot of things. Some people like to just give up and quit. Quitting is easy. I don't believe in quitting. I don't believe in submitting to things that don't have control of my life. Losing, that's easy for some people because they don't believe in themselves. Giving up, that's easy because that's the easiest way to get out of things. Making excuses, oh, that's the best thing that most people enjoy more than anything. You hold on to excuses like it's a teddy bear. And that's not the way you want to be. I, myself, I'm never going to give excuses to satisfaction. I'm never going to give my competition dissatisfaction. Because the greatest competition is you. So you want to give up? You want to quit? You really want to lose. And then when you lose, you start blaming people.
It didn't happen to me at 19. It didn't happen to me at 20. It didn't happen to me at 30. It happened to me at 40. After I had been through all the pressure I thought I could go through. Life said, you finished with all the pressure? I said, yeah. I said, let's bring on the heat. And then when I went through the pressure and the heat, y'all, I thought it was over. The Creator said, now you ready to get cut? You said you wanted to be great, son. You said you wanted to travel the world. You said you wanted to help people, inspire people. Hey, you gotta be a diamond. But listen to me very closely if you've ever studied the diamond. Once it goes through that type of pressure and it finally becomes a diamond, at that point you can't break it no more. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? Once you get to that point, you cannot be broken anymore. And the only way they can tell if a diamond is a diamond or if it's fake is by applying pressure is how they tell. They don't just look at it, you think it's just looking at the thing, like I looked in the thing. They'll just bring it here, put it on some glass. Okay, it's real.
Right? There's things that you know you're supposed to do as a human being. Things that you know are going to improve your life. Do those things. There's things that you know are going to make you a worse person and make your life worse. Don't do those things. Don't do the things that are making you weaker. Start doing the things that are going to make you stronger and smarter and faster and healthier and going to make you a better human being. And I'll say the same thing to this guy. want to be more disciplined? Get after it. That's it. Get up early, do some kind of workout, eat good foods, clean your room, make a list of things that you're supposed to do in your life, and then wake up in the morning and do those things that you put on the list. That's what discipline is. And no, it is not easy. But you're not going to get it from anyone else but you. And it's worth it. And it is the thing that is going to bring you freedom.
I never cheated. Like my conscience still until this day won't let me, like I can't cheat. I can't look myself in the mirror and say, Ink, you did a good job knowing that I cheated. I can't cheat. One of the greatest pieces of advice that my mother gave me was this: son, whenever you start, you make sure you finish. And the problem with the world today, people get involved with things, and if they don't like a certain person, if they don't like the process, if it's not what they thought it was, they quit. And what they don't understand about quitting becomes a habit that doesn't just affect you. Later on in life, when you get a wife, when you get some kids, or you get a family, it's going to come back to hunt you, and it will one day affect them. That is why I tell you the process is more important than the product. It's not even about the outcome for me. It's about, can you take pride in what you do as an individual, and every night when you look in the mirror, knowing that you gave everything you had to it.
When all you had to do was give it everything you had within yourself. For me, you can't beat me. I'll beat myself before I let someone else beat me. Does it sound like I'm overconfident? Does it sound like that I know more than you know? No, I know me better than you know me. I know what I'm capable of. Question is, do you know what you're capable of? Do you realize that the greatest challenges that you face in life, if you can adapt and overcome those challenges, wow! Isn't that amazing? That's all you can get from me. Wow! How explosive that is. Competition? There is no competition. It's only you. You're your greatest challenge. You can also be your greatest enemy.
So I'm being honest with you. I'm not giving you the 7 principles I'm trying to tell you the very first thing I want to tell you before we go through the principles. It's going to be a dog fight. And if you soft, this ain't that you want to get out now. This is where you like, I quit. But if you're willing to say, I'm not going to quit, I guarantee you whatever success you want to have, you're going to have it. All right, so here's number 1. I apologize. It took a long time to get to number 1. Number 1, Denzel Washington. You must be very intentional and deliberate. You must be very intentional and deliberate. The stuff that you wrote down on that piece of paper is not going to happen by osmosis. You're not going to wake up one day and find a law degree. You're not just going to walk out of your house. There it is with my name on it. I'm a doctor now. It suddenly appeared. It's not going to work like that. If you're married, it's not going to. If you're married, I promise you, I've been married over 26 years. If you're going to have a good relationship, you're going to have to work for it.
Most of us don't like waiting, particularly if we're waiting for something to change or something to get better. Waiting can be a very frustrating experience.
To everything there is a season, and to every purpose under heaven there is a time for it. This is one of the best news I ever got in my life. When I understood that everything is a season. Let me tell you why. If you're having a bad time right now, it cannot last. If your business is going in the wrong direction, it's a seasonal slide. If you have no money right now, the good news is I am seasonally broke. That's why we are always reminded, never make a permanent decision in a temporary problem.
Don't make a permanent decision over a temporary circumstance. Don't allow a moment of agony to make you draw a conclusion about life prematurely. Because if you just keep on walking, God has a way of making everything all right.
can't change the seasons. They're set. All of this has been set in motion. You can change yourself. You can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. Life and business is like the changing seasons.
You can't love your life and just love parts of it. You got to learn how to embrace it all, and the only way that we can ever embrace things that are painful or seem unjust or unfair or that we don't like is if we learn some secrets that the Apostle Paul talked about. He said, I've learned the secret of being content.
One of the things that we know about life is that you're always going to be changing. In the old pattern, in the old chapter, you had certain patterns, right? In the old chapter of your life, you would go to the bar and drink. You would go to the store and spend money you didn't have. You're in a new chapter now. And so you have different patterns. When the patterns change, so will your circle of friends. It's a fact of life. But that doesn't mean your old friends aren't friends anymore. It just means that you don't want to hang out with them. You still care about them, but you don't like doing what they do. The patterns have changed.
If you're going to reach your destiny, you have to learn to kiss things goodbye. You're not going to understand everything that happens. Life may not turn out the way you thought. People may walk away. It's easy to get bitter, lose your passion. Kiss the person that walked away goodbye. Kiss the bitterness goodbye. Kiss the dream that didn't work out goodbye. God wouldn't have allowed it to happen if he didn't have something better in front of you.
The hardest thing to do, the hardest thing to deal with, the hardest thing to put up with is transition. The thing we hate the most is transition. We hate it because it takes us out of our element. It takes us out of our comfort zone. You cannot control everything when you are in transition. It is what it is. It happens like it happens. I can't be pretty about it. I got to come out any way I can. I'm in transition. When my water breaks, get ready. Here I come. That's my sign. Here I come. Touch your neighbor and say, move.
Don't neglect a new life if you've started a new life. Learn the good evil. Summertime. Here's what you must not become: a victim of yourself. What is that insidious voice inside your own head that says, you're too short, it'll never work for you, you're too tall? And here's what you've got to do: cooperate with the positive side of your life and let faith drive out doubt. Let winning drive out losing. Let positive drive out negative.
There's always seasons of waiting and seasons of harvest. There's seasons of testing and seasons of breakthrough. To everything there's a season and a time for every matter of purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die. A time to plant, a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to break down, a time to build up. A time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance.
Anybody can criticize. Anybody can talk scandalously about you because of what you did or did not do. But they don't know your story. They don't know how many storms God has brought you through.
I've learned how to ignore some foolishness. Come on, if you try to respond to everything that everybody got to say and accuse and every opinion that people got, that's all you will spend your time doing. But I've discovered that God has anointed you to do his will, and you do not have to waste your time responding to foolishness.
There are people and opportunities that were ordained for your past that are not ordained for your future. They were right for a season, but that season could come to an end. The key is how you handle the closed doors, how you handle the person that did you wrong. Sometimes, instead of kissing them goodbye, we smack them goodbye. I didn't like you anyway. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
The higher we went up, the smaller the circle got. If you really think you're going higher, you got to notice that the higher you go, the smaller your circle. You can't go high and go wide at the same time. If you don't do that right and do it the other way, you're going to keep falling over, so there may have to be some cutting back.
Learn how to survive the winter. Speaking of life in its simplest aspect, the first key to learn in your life on the spinning planet is to learn how to survive. So we cannot rearrange the coming of the winters, but here's what we could do. Get stronger, wiser, and better so that we can survive better. Learning to handle the next winter of a divorce, the next winter of an illness, the next winter of a death in the family, the next winter of a loss financially, to be better equipped.
You got friends for a reason, you got friends for a season, and you have friends for a lifetime. As the patterns of my life change, so do the friends that I hang out with more frequently. And I also believe that as you change and the patterns in your life change, people show up in your life for a reason. And it's exactly the kind of people that you need. They're there for a reason. And the friends of yours that are friends of yours for a lifetime, I bet you don't hang out with them that much at all anyway. But I bet they're the first person that you call when you need to talk to somebody about somebody important. And those folks that are still sitting at the bar and love to blow money that they don't have, those were friends for a season.
Get rid of all things, people, and situations that no longer belong in your life. That means you are going to boldly step into and walk into the unfamiliar. Boldly get rid of things, people, relationships, friendships, surroundings. Deciding that you love yourself enough to no longer walk in the direction of pain, drama, or dysfunction.
The collection of ideas that turned your life around, the collection of ideas that caused you to learn extra skills. You got to have a good plan. You got to have a good health plan. You know, you can't be out of breath, right? You got to have the breath. You got to have the vitality. So you got to have a good health plan. You got to have a good financial plan. Learning to handle the passing of time. And that's what life is all about. Taking them on, finding solutions, executing, recording progress.
You got to change how you see yourself. You got to quit seeing yourself as a failure. You got to quit seeing yourself as defeated. You got to stop seeing yourself in a negative view. Why? Because your perception has to do with the way you think. And however you see yourself is going to impact or determine your thinking. Your perception has to do with the way you process information. I mean, if you're stuck in inferior and you're stuck in all these things, it will determine the way you process information. It's going to affect the way you view situations around you in your life.
I'm asking you to be at peace with your past, at peace with what you don't understand. Not bitter, angry, the chip on your shoulder. That's not going to keep you from your destiny. It's leading you to your destiny. Kiss it goodbye and move forward.
You are in your new season. Some of y'all came up with New Year's resolutions. You've already fell apart. You're supposed to step into the happy new you year. So many of y'all are in spiritual chains. You're not even physically behind bars. You are spiritually behind bars. You are stuck. You are institutionalized.
Here's what everybody has the opportunity to climb the ladder. Now, first, all you need is what? A chance. But here's the greatest advantage, having the right philosophy. A change and a shift in philosophy here starts to change everything. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living, which is noble. If you work hard on yourself, you could make a fortune, which is exciting.
If you have friends that make you wrong for changing your life for the better, that's their issue. It's not yours.
I want you to be transformed out of the world. Transformed or changed from how you used to think, how you used to act. I want you to change yourself from the world to the Word. I want you to change yourself from those ideas that you got in the world and be ye transformed. How? By the renewing of your mind.
If you're not prepared to go through some bloody stuff and some dirty stuff, you don't want to keep feeding on this kind of word, because it will open up your mind and open up your thinking and open up your concepts until all of a sudden you are uncomfortable in what you were once comfortable in.
We were born to do a special work. You were born to do a special work. You are here for a reason, to do the greater work. Not just work for a living, but to make a difference with your life.
You're thinking on another level, and it's causing a separation. What used to be funny isn't funny anymore. And what you used to be satisfied with, you're not satisfied with anymore. And all of a sudden, you don't fit in the places you used to fit in. And they think you're acting strange. And they say things like, you forgot where you came from. I didn't forget it. I just can't stay in it.
So we've been talking about the power to change yourself. And ladies and gentlemen, you all have the power to change your life. Right now, you have the power to change. Say this out loud. I have the power to change my life now.
Every time I climb up a little bit, I start this pattern where I sabotage, or I start to believe too much, or my relationships go sideways. You're falling into these patterns. There's massive power in beginning to understand that's not who you are. You are not your possessions. You are not your accomplishments. You are not what other people say you are. You are not what you look like. And guess what else you're not? You are not your patterns, but your life becomes a combination and a result of your patterns. The great thing about us is that we can change these patterns if we identify them.
You got to weep with those that weep and laugh with those that laugh. You got to have this full understanding of the game. You got to understand the highs and the lows, the tragedy and the triumph. Just like in your mind, you got to stand guard at the door of your mind. Don't become a victim of yourself. Beware of the thief in your mind that's after your promise. And see if you can't engage in this mental contest and win the day.
When you have a vision, all of a sudden, all of the pain in your life now begins to have a purpose, because you realize, I'm not there yet, I'm on the way, I'm gonna keep on believing, I'm gonna wait for it. Habakkuk says, write the vision down. Make it plain, make it clear, visualize it, see it, think about it, share about it.
Why don't you kiss the self-pity goodbye? Being critical, sarcastic, that doesn't look good on anyone. Some people can wear designer clothes, they can have nice hair, they look great on the outside. The problem is, none of that can cover up what's on the inside. If we would spend half as much time on the inside as we do the outside, we'd be much better off.
And when you are frustrated with the people you love, the conflict is overwhelming. It's one thing to be angry at people you don't know, but when you are angry with people you're in covenant with, the confusion is overwhelming, because one thing says love them and the other thing says I want to choke you.
Success is something you attract by the person you become. Success is not something you pursue, chase, run after. Success is something you develop, something you become. You attract success. So the whole key to unlock all the treasures is by your own personal development. What you become is much more valuable than what you get. The major question to ask on the job is not what am I getting here? The major question to ask on the job is what am I becoming here?
Everybody wears this public mask, or this social mask I call it, where it's who they want everybody to think they are. It's the best put version of themselves. And if you're not careful, you begin to compare your own real identity with other people's public mask. Don't compare yourself. Most of the people you see on social media, or even in your personal life, or even when you go to lunch with them or see them at work, they're wearing what I would call a public mask. And oftentimes what we do in life is we compare our real identity that we're working on and we're growing to their mask. Any comparison doesn't serve us. When you're in a disagreement with somebody, it's the mask they're wearing compared to the identity you have, and then you begin to run a pattern to respond to it.
I'm not living in regrets, beating myself up. I'm putting an end to what's been passed down. I'm breaking the generational curse, and I'm starting the generational blessing.
The life is about growth. You can either go back to your comfort zone, and there you won't find any growth, or you must be willing to go forward and face your fears again and again and again, because you're never going to have a fear-free existence. I mean, some fear is acceptable and legitimate. Being stopped by fear is the difference between having a fear and the fear having you.
Live your life being present to who you are and what your superpower is. Don't be a volunteer victim. You've got something. You came here with something. You were chosen.
Is there something you need to kiss goodbye? A hurt, a bad attitude? They were in your past. They don't belong in your future. Forgetting what lies behind, I press to the high calling. You can go through life holding on to hurts, but that will keep you from the new levels, from the high calling. It's time to kiss some things goodbye. Kiss the disappointment goodbye. God has something better. Kiss that failure goodbye. This is a new day.
One of the reasons that people don't change is because they really don't know why they are here on the earth. They don't know and they don't understand their purpose in life. And when you know your purpose, you're going to change when you know your purpose.
If your life and the people that you have in your life creates nightmares for your life, the nightmares that you're having while you're awake, you're witnessing nightmares. Drama, dysfunction, negative people, you consuming your life. It's like, oh, there's negative dysfunction and drama, and you're going to walk into the direction of dysfunction and drama. When you go to sleep at night, those nightmares are going to continue till you sleep because of what you're deciding to do while you're awake.
How long is the night? It's only a few hours, come on. There's never been a double night. So learn to think day when it's night. And then you must learn to think night when it's day. So you must think negative when it's positive. You must think winter when it's summer. You must not be faked out when it's nice. You must think storm in the summer and not get faked out. Work while it's day. Work while it's day because the night's coming.
So I'd ask yourself today, what are the patterns you're running that don't serve you? Begin to be aware of those patterns. Know who your real identity is. See those patterns when they're happening. Interrupt them. Continue to work on your identity. These two things, I think, are the critical components to making the decisions and the choices in our life. That when we look back, I don't want you to end up in your 80s or 90s and regret the choices you made. Regret the patterns you ran. And that you just unconsciously went through your life without choosing the direction of it, choosing the decisions.
I tell you what, don't ever let the devil steal your hope. I mean, hope is the most powerful motivator. When you continue to have hope, the devil cannot defeat you. And the word hope just simply means that you're expecting something good to happen at any moment. You say, well, I'm sick today. Well, expect to be well tomorrow. And if tomorrow you're not well, then expect to be well the next day.
There comes a point in your life when you look in the mirror and who's looking back at you realizes that's all you're ever going to be. Wow, what a blow, what a punch in the gut. And I kept seeking, I kept working at it. because the one that I was living wasn't me, and he had to go. You want to be successful? Watch successful people and do what successful people do. And so I'm saying to you, you have something special. You have greatness in you. I want you to write this down. Do what works.
It will be hard because life is hard. That's what life is. These challenges that you face, they're going to do their best to take you down. Do not let them bring you down. In fact, let those challenges raise you up. Let them elevate you. Let the adversity you face today turn you into a better person tomorrow.
It's guaranteed the spring will come, but it's not a guarantee of a harvest. Here's the key. You must do something with the spring. Take advantage of the spring. It's an opportunity now to turn things around. It's an opportunity to have a better one than the last one. Now, here's what you must do in the spring. It's a very short season usually. You must hurry. But life at the longest is short. So you must learn to appreciate opportunity and take advantage of it while it's day, while it's time. Now, we call spring a window of opportunity. It may not stay open very long, so take advantage.
You came here to make a difference. You came here to live an impactful life.
Even though you're going through the storm, you're not able to soar as high as you once did, God still gives you grace to run. Run. It gets hard sometimes. You keep running. They talk bad about you out of your presence, but keep running. They don't want to see you get a breakthrough, but keep running. Run. Don't get weary. Run. Don't let them discourage you. Don't let the chickens and geese in your life change your ego mentality.
Credit goes to our awesome patrons who make videos like this one possible. Consider joining them to support our work. You can also support us by subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell button to get notified when our new videos are released. And as always, thank you for watching.